I am absolutely cock-a-hoop to announce that it is indeed a Saturday morning. And not only that, it's 9 o'clock. And that could only mean one wonderful thing. Yes! It's time for the Monster Magic Saturday Show. Let's do this!
Wake up, it's a beautiful morning. Feel the sun shining for your eyes.
Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo! Or should I say, brrrr? Gosh, it's a bit cold here on the water, but I can warm my hands up and I can still do some reviews. I hope you are all really, really well. I must give a massive shout out to Wolf, who had his birthday on Monday. Wolf Kruger up in air. He turned 60 this week. So huge congratulations to you. I hope you had a wonderful day. Right then, where shall we start? Oh, I know. Let's go with The Pinnacle by Joel Dickinson. I do know Joel, by the way. That is just a little caveat. What I do like about Joel's releases, certainly the most recent ones, is that they've been using everyday objects, a little bit like the Washers and the Matchbox by Joel Anthony. I do like the sort of simplicity of everyday objects being used, not always playing cards and so on. And this is a neat little balancing act. Yes, you pick up a highlighter pen and you balance it on your finger. You then get a deck of cards and you balance that on the end of the pen. You then take a playing card and balance that on top of the box. And then you then take a matchbox and pop that on top of the card. And then finally, you take a match and balance that on top of everything else. And then you can blow it all down. I suspect many of you are having flashbacks to Joshua Jay's Balance from a few years ago. And although this is a similar effect, Balance was very much a parlour stage performance piece, and quite a beautiful effect. To be honest, what Joel has done cleverly and even quite simply is taken that idea of that effect and made it into a close-up worker's trick, and that is quite remarkable. It is a wonderful, wonderful effect. It's a brilliant opener, I think, because it will just grab people's attention. You can just put everything on the table, do that. People are going to be drawn in, staring at you. Joel actually mentions that he uses it as a crowd puller if he's performing on the streets or perhaps doing a trade show, something like that. It's really is very strong and visually startling. People won't be able to stop looking to see what else you're going to put on top of another object. Let me show you what you get in here. So you get the marker pen. It's a highlighter pen. It is, perfectly fine. They can handle this as much as they want, really, and it does actually write as well. I'll tell you why I think that's useful in a minute. You also get all of the other gimmicks. So you do get a playing card. This playing card is not anything special, actually. It's just in there to protect some of the other gimmicks. You also get the matchbox, which has got the match in, and you get a couple of other little bits for you to attach to your card box. It read a bicycle card box in this case. The tutorial is by Joel himself, and it's about half an hour long, if I remember correctly, maybe a shade less. There is a full performance of him doing it at the start, and then he runs through what you receive, how each little independent bit works, all of the arts and crafts that you need to do at the start. It's only a real tiny little bit, but he explains it really, really well just to make sure you get it right. He runs through several variations or ideas that you can do if that's what you prefer, depending on which finger you want to use and so on. Once you've set it up, it's pretty much self-working. All you really need to do is to practice the acting bit. I would really make a play that you are trying to balance it. I would search for the bits on the table to put on as if I'm really concentrating on the pen and the box and so on. I think that's a really good way of playing it. I like the way Joel starts it with balancing the pen on top of the card case and then blowing the card case over. I think that is a good dramatic moment as well. You can have a lot of fun with it. How you end it, you can simply take the bits off one by one if you wish, or you can have it all just drop into your hand. If you've got grabby people, dropping it all into your hand might be the best way. If you want to have everything examined afterwards, you can. There does have to be a clean up. In fact, each item will need to be cleaned up separately. It's not like there's just one thing to get rid of. There's not some big anti-gravity pads in the palm of your hand or anything like that. You do have to clean up each item, but that is all pretty simple, and Joel talks about exactly how to do that and the motivation for doing it as well, so it doesn't actually look like you're just picking something up for no good reason. For me, I wouldn't worry too much about the matchbox and so on. I would put that straight in my pocket. Afterwards, I would keep the pen on the table and the box and the cards, and I would go straight into a card trick involving a signed card. And that way you're not encouraging your friends and family to be grabby and to inspect your props in the future, to give you some respect, but also you are showing that they are normal, regular things at the same time. You can, of course, just do the pen and the card case if you want before a card trick, just for a little bit of fun, but I do think it's wonderful the way it builds, and because it is so clean and so angle proof, people will be looking for wires and things, and you can see Joel's doing all of this waving around as if he's doing the floating lady. That can be done. It's great, really. It's such a super little practical opening effect, and I think it is definitely an effect that your audience will remember long after and be talking about for quite a while. That is The Pinnacle by Joel Dickinson, 85.99. Next up, it's Synchronous by Javier Natara. This is a simple, straightforward, direct card trick. You shuffle your cards until your own heart is content, and you ask your participants to grab half. You then deal down some cards, stopping wherever you wish, putting the cards under the table. After a few shenanigans, you ask them to reverse one card and stick it back into the middle of the deck. When you bring up your halves and you spread them, you find that you have matched cards. You then offer to repeat it. Your participant go back under the table, do a similar process, bring them out and spread through the cards. You haven't touched your cards, but when you spread them again, your match is now showing for the second card. Yes, it's the classic do as I do trick, but Javier has, I suppose you'd want me to call it supercharged. If I was a marketing man, I would say that. He's added a gimmick, which means you don't use two decks, although I'm sure there are versions of the do as I do where you don't use two decks. And he has replaced some of the freedom that the spectator has with the do as I do into subtleties instead. Some of that I think is a bit of a loss. I love the do as I do plot. I think it's absolutely amazing having the spectator do everything, seemingly randomize everything, seemingly having that complete free will to stop and choose any card and so on. I think is terrific, and I think we forget that sometimes with self-working tricks that require a process. You are actually involving your participant and letting them make choices, and that in their mind makes the trick almost more powerful than if you skipped a lot of the processes and it was much more direct. Now, you don't get quite that hands-off freedom with this. There's much more control over what the spectator can and can't do. You are the only person who can shuffle the deck at the start. They can't do that, but then with the subtleties of the dealing down and stopping wherever they like, you then give them the feeling that they have mixed the cards, if that makes sense. You then go under the table and you direct them as to what to do, by you remove cards from the top or the bottom, put them on the top, put them on the bottom, and then you turn one over and put it in the middle. That's not as free as in the classic self-working do as I do, but with some good acting and some play, you get away with it. And if you watch Javier when he's performing it, he makes it seem like he's making it up as he goes along, and that is the key to this. You've got to make it feel so random, even though you know exactly what you need them to do. When you both bring your packets up onto the table and spread through and the cards match, that is a great visual, startling, surprising, powerful piece of card magic. You then offer to repeat it. Your participant goes back under the table. You don't touch your deck. You simply respread it and you've matched their other card. I'm not sure how much I like that. That hints to me at gimmicking or something going on, but maybe that's just my magician's head. I would probably prefer just to go back under the table and do it again completely. But I'm probably wrong given the fact that Javier has performed this a lot more than me. The tutorial is just shy of half an hour, and it is Javier Funemea and Javier Natara running through the trick. It's super clear. It's a wonderful tutorial. What is nice is that the two Javiers seem to be enjoying themselves, and there are a couple of moments where they riff off each other, and that is great. The mechanics are really simple. He teaches several ways of actually doing it, but the differences are very minor indeed. There's no real sleights involved. Any dirty work is done out of sight. He then at the end teaches one which doesn't use the gimmick. Yes, that's got slightly more skill involved, but not a lot. And if you do like this effect and you want to do it on the fly, that's a really nice addition. I can't really show you what you get in here because it is the gimmick. It is red backed, so that does sort of limit the deck you can do it with, although the back's never really seen, so maybe you will get away with it if you're careful with your shuffling procedure at the start. And Javier does teach a way of cleaning up. He says he doesn't do it. He's never felt the need to. I think because you haven't gone back under the table, that second card, I think you've put a little bit of heat on the gaff. It is a really good effect, but then so is the regular do as I do, but you don't have to carry around two decks. I suppose what Javier has done here is taken a trick we all know to be good and powerful, we all know how to do, and turned it into magician fooler with the addition of a gimmick. That is Synchronous by Javier Natara, $12.99. And now it's competition time. Yes, it was a rollover week, wasn't it? So you could win just about everything. Plop, devolve, eject. There's a mass of prizes. You are all in here. All 60 of you. Let me see if I can get a... There you go. I was quite pleased with that one. I'll try to give it a go again. Okay, this is about as random as I'm ever going to get. Here we go. Good luck, everybody. You've got... here we go. And the winner is... Oh, let me find... Oh, I've got my terrible glasses. I don't like these glasses. Richard Wood. Richard Wood, 9219. I hope that's not your PIN number. Richard Wood, congratulations. Please get in touch. Email me at info@monstermagic.co.uk and I will put that wonderful bundle of goodies in the post to you on Monday morning. And now it's time for the news segment idea, which it's called, I don't know what it's going to be called. Maybe it's called, well, what do I know? The idea is that you ask a question and I read it out and we can all answer it in the comments and I can give my opinion as well. And the question last week was, how do I deal with nerves and shaky hands that stop me performing for my friends and family? There were a couple of comments. Some people did offer some advice. I would run through my advice. If it's specifically the shaky hands that gets you, I think you can clench your fists in and out like this. I mean, it's the adrenaline going through your body from the anxiety and the nerves that you're creating is what's causing the shaky hands. So sometimes clenching your hands and fists like this can warm them up and can dissipate some of that adrenaline. Really though, you're causing yourself far more anxiety and stress than you need to. And this was mentioned in one of the comments as well. Don't build it up. Remember what your goal is. Your goal is to simply entertain your friends and your family with your hobby. It's your hobby. It's what you enjoy doing. They would love to see you do your hobby. I've gone to watch people run marathons and do all sorts of things. It doesn't matter where they come, you know, you're just pleased that they've done it and you're thrilled for them. Get into that mindset. Reduce the goal. They haven't seen people like Leonard Green and so on. You know, even now, if I choose a card and sign it and it gets lost and someone finds it and I don't know how that's done, I am entertained and I am impressed. It could be the most simple card trick. That's all you've got to do and they will love it. Plus they're your friends and family. They are on your side. Also, if they see that you're nervous and you've got shaking hands, their love's going to come out for you. They're going to appreciate that. We're all scared of public performances and public speaking. We all get nervous. They will understand. And also remember, what is the worst that can happen? If you fluff it up, you fluffed it up. If you've accidentally revealed a secret, you've accidentally revealed a secret. We get far too stressed about the secrets in our little world. You can accidentally reveal it to your friends and family. They're probably going to forget it. It's not as important to them as it is to you. So just don't build up those fears in the first place. One of the other bits of advice was to create a persona. That's also really, really good. It doesn't have to be a massive character. You can, well, so persona is from the Greek masks that they used to wear when they were performing. And the idea is it's how you present yourself. That's what your persona is. It's not actually you, or certainly in the Greek world, it wasn't. And the nice thing about that is that you can change your persona at the drop of a hat. You can do it, you can do it for a lifetime if you want. If you do some CBT, you become a different person, or you can just do it for the 10 minutes that you're performing and just act like a confident person. That's it. There's another secret there. If you want to give yourself a bit more of a character and really make it into a performance, an alter ego, then that is also fine. And then there is, of course, the trick selection. You can keep it really, really simple to start off with. You can just do something out of this world. A lot of Paul Curry effects, actually. Power of Thought. I've got Shuffleboard by Simon Orenson, a 10-card poker deal. There are so many Gemini mates. There are so many brilliant self-working card tricks out there that will floor your friends and think you've got some skill, and then you can start bringing in the sleights. The thing about bringing in some sleights is we notice our hands are shaking because quite often we're looking down at them and we want to make sure we've got that sleight correct. And I think that is something to do with how we practice. When we're practicing, certainly if you're doing like a double lift or pass, we're looking to see if it can be seen. We're looking to see if it's smooth. And then when we perform, we do exactly the same thing. A, that puts our attention on our hands, and B, it gives everyone else's attention to our hands as well. The best thing to do is to practice looking at a camera, or try and get a confidant. It can be your wife, it can even be your dog, but practice talking out loud and actually performing it, so that doesn't come as a shock. Sometimes when we're practicing, we're just running the voices through our heads rather than actually saying it out loud. So to make it as real when you're practicing as possible, and practice it a lot, show it a lot to as many people, and just go for it. Eventually you will lose those shakes. Sometimes they'll come back when you're doing something new. Sometimes they'll come back when you're performing for someone that you really respect, but it will get easier. So the question for next week is, because no one asked me a question in the comments, I've split this one in half actually. So how do you get around your grabby friends? Your friends who, not like that, no, your friends who take your tricks, want to examine your props, everything, or even try and mess you up from time to time. How do you deal with that? Next up, it's Pocket Miracle by Alex, Zan and TCC. I'm afraid it's another matching card trick. You have a deck of cards freely shuffled by your participant until their heart's content, and you show that you have an envelope, and in that envelope is one odd backed card. They then deal cards down into your hand one at a time, stopping wherever they like. You then offer them the card from the envelope, they turn it over, you turn over the card that they stopped at, and they match perfectly. That is the one basic effect. You can spice it up a little bit by doing it where the cards at the end all end up blank as well, which is a nice little bit of a kicker, and you can then go on to do a drawing duplication as well. Absolutely dynamite. I'm flabbergasted by this. I didn't know what to expect, and this wasn't what I expected. There's something about just how simple this works has just floored me, that no one else has ever come up with it before. It's sort of genius. I feel it must have been found out by accident. Let me show you what you get in here. So you get, well, I can't show you too much. You get 3 of the envelopes. They are quite strong and sturdy, but will eventually wear out. You also get some paper clips and a little bit of stuff that you can use. So if you want to do the drawing duplication, there is a bit of arts and crafts involved. You can do it with just one of the envelopes if you wish, or you can do it with all 3. You can still do the exact same effects once you've gimmicked it. It doesn't limit it to just the drawing duplication. You can still just do the card trick with it if you wish, but you do have to be careful when doing that. It is taught very nicely. The tutorial by TCC is much better than normal. I think maybe it's just that simpler a trick that there isn't too much to explain. The working of it is so natural that I just love it. You don't need any particular cards. The cards aren't gimmicked at all. You can use any decks that you like. Obviously you just need one contrasting card. With the blank face ending, yep, everything's left examinable. It's just an ordinary blank faced deck. I mean, you are clean at the end. Do be careful when they're shuffling a blank faced deck though, in case that they glimpse the bottom, so they might want to see how they shuffle first. Alternatively, you just do the shuffle. They're still they can cut and they can still deal down to any card that they like, and it will still work. It's so subtle. The move is so motivated and clever. It sort of reminds me a little bit of a top changey kind of move. Absolute genius. And the timing of it and the misdirection of handing them the card from the envelope and so on is just wonderful. You might feel it is a bit bold. It's not 100% angle proof either, but if you got the timing right, if you practice it, it's very easy to do, and if it all flows, no one is going to notice. And what a brilliant effect it is. They have done everything. They've had complete and utter freedom, and they have still arrived at the one card in that envelope. And you can leave that card poking out of the envelope for them to see, so they know that it hasn't changed in any way. It is definitely the card they saw at the start. And you just got to put the envelope back in your pocket and you are completely clean. And one of the wonderful things about this is there's just no heat on the envelope. It just feels there to isolate and to keep the prediction card in place. It doesn't feel like it's part of the method. It doesn't feel important. Their attention is not drawn on it. They can almost probably forget it was ever there. It's a sneaky, devilish way of performing a miracle. It is Pocket Miracle by Alexander, TCC 25.99. And finally, we have Colour Spot Monty by Murphy's Magic. If you don't know, this is an old effect that has been given an uplift by Murphy's Magic. You show that you've got 3 cards. 2 of them have blue spots on them, 1 of them has red. The idea is that your participant will try and find the red spot, but it's not on top, it's not on the bottom, it's not in the middle. Each time they are losing money. Finally, you put 1 red and 1 blue on the table and you ask them to name the colour in the middle. They can guess what they like, they'll get it wrong. It is, in fact, green with a pound sign. Let me show you what you get, because it's really the cards that make the difference to this than the classic effect. Patter-wise and plot-wise, obviously, you can make it up as you like. Javier's got a nice little story. I personally like the one where it keeps on adding up. So every time they get it wrong, you go, well, that's another £1 you owe me. And you keep on adding it up and then eventually say, well, that's £15 that you owe me, or £14, I think it is, by the end of the trick. I do really, really like that. But I love tricks like this where you're telling them a story. You can make up that the guy was a cad. You can make up he's Irish, do a bad accent, just, you know, anything that you like. Give the person that you met a nice little bit of a character, really embellish it and have fun with it, because the trick itself is really, really simple to do. It does end nice and clean at the end. You are only using the 3 cards that they see at the end. There is a little handling stuff here and there, but it's very, very basic handling. I'm not a great fan of the sort of push-up alignment move, but it works a treat. It's really, really easy and achieve exactly what it does. Javier in the tutorial does teach other methods and some other sleights. We mentioned other things that you can do. If you are good at sleight of hand, if you know a little bit, you can throw it all in. Why not? You know, put in a frustration count or anything like that. D'Amico display, whatever. You can do all of that if you wish. But the cards are subtly marked as well, so that gives you the orientation, so that they're always going to be shown the right way up, which makes it nice and understanding for the audience straight away. So this is the card that obviously I'd be using. It's the £1 coin. It's green. It's actually embossed, so it's raised rather than printed on. These aren't on the world's greatest quality card stock, but they'll last just fine. They work just fine. You know, there's no air cushion linen finish, but they do move perfectly well. They handle just fine. The back design is nice, I think. I mean, it hides the markings beautifully. Once you know, you can see that when they're there, but they're very subtle and they're not actually marking what the card is as such, either just which way round it is. So there you go. So you've got all the currencies there. Let me just put another currency. There's the euro. So you can make those up as you wish. What else have you got? Oh, you've got dollar, obviously, and you've got a blank one, so you can add whatever you wish in there, or a happy birthday message or whatever, or perhaps just put in £14, something like that. And then you've got these spot cards, which are nice. Again, this is sort of raised or stuck on, I suppose, applied is the word I'm looking for, rather than printed, but they're nice and shiny and definitely different from each other, and that's really the important thing. Teaching and tutorial wise, again, it's 20 minutes long, and it's got a nice full performance and then a run through of each phase, step by step. I think it's a lovely trick to perform. It's only 3 cards. Pop it in your wallet and just have a lot of fun with it. For me, presentation is almost everything in a card trick. Just throw your life and soul into presenting it, and you will have a lot of fun with it for very little work. It is one of the great packet tricks that for some reason has fallen out of favour recently, and I don't know why. But that is Colour Spot Monty by Murphy's Magic, just £10.50.
Let's switch channels. This show is dull.
You bet.
What is that?
It looks like two ancient old guys sitting in a theater box watching television.
That's crazy. No one would watch junk like that.
And that's it for this week's show, I'm afraid. I do hope you've enjoyed it. Big happy birthday to Wolf once again. Please do answer the question or ask a question in the comments, just so I can see if that segment of What Do I Know takes off. Otherwise, thanks all very much for watching. Thank you all for subscribing. I have hit 2,000 subscribers, which for me is absolutely amazing. I wouldn't have believed it when I started this channel. But come on. Until next week, grab some magic, go out there and have a lot of fun with the best hobby in the world. Bye-bye.